Star Wars Unlimited enthusiasts, welcome to our box opening for Ashes of the Empire. I am recording this on July 18th. Yesterday was the official release day of Ashes of the Empire. So, of course, that means we are no longer in the Law format. We have transitioned into the Ash format. And we should know what really we should see for this Ash format meta, as next week we have the Galactic Championship going on. I mean, we should know exactly where people, how long people have been testing, what is good, and what we should expect coming into the Ash format altogether. Now, I do not think the Galactic Championship is the full all. This is now the Ash format meta. I think that's a little out there. I do think we're going to need some PQs in the Ash format and some regionals and sector qualifiers, stuff to prepare us for the next Galactic Championship coming down in 2027 for all of that. So I do not think we 100% know what the Ash format's going to be, but we have, at that point, we'll have a very strong idea of what to expect in Ash. So this is my 12th box of Ashes of the Empire. I ordered 2 cases from Bulldog Community Gaming LLC in Brownsburg, Indiana. I'll leave a link down description below to their Facebook page where you guys can come and chit chat and talk. Scott's a great shop owner. Support him always 100%, but I did get 2 cases of this product. And I've opened pretty well. I've opened 1 case, got me all my commons and uncommons, and mostly all my rares and some of my legendaries. I've cracked, like I said, almost all of case 2. This is the last box of case 2. And I'm just missing a very few legendaries. I would like to get 1 more Ravager, especially for 𝐒𝐿, and I would like to get my hands on 1 more 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐄𝐿 for control strategies. Other than that, I need like another Grogu to complete out my Grogu collection. But my major 2 legendary hits that I hope this box will hold for me is I'm hoping for a 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿 and a Ravager. Now, the funny thing is, I had 2 boxes left before I did this video from my case. Now, deciding which one to grab. So this one's the last box, like I said. But the second to last box, I cracked as showcase leader. I cracked Luke Skywalker. One of the 2 showcase leaders I was looking for from this set 100%. I love this art of Luke Skywalker, by the way. This and Ezra are like the only 2 leaders I was looking to grab from like my case. Those were the only 2 leaders I was looking to grab. So I'm glad to grab it. Now again, it's about average. You'll be able to pull a showcase leader from about 2 cases. You'll be able to get 1. You could potentially get if you bought 1 case, you do have a 50-50 chance to get a showcase leader. But if you want the higher chances, you got to get about 2 cases. Funny enough, a friend of mine who also got 2 cases from Scott, unfortunately did not pull a showcase leader and joked that I probably had the showcase leader. And bada boom, bada bang, I had the showcase leader. So I'm happy that I got the Luke Skywalker. But I wanted to show you that because that was one of the 2 boxes I was going to decide to open the video. And of course, while I was just cracking it open, getting on all of the hyperspaces and the hyperspace rare, hyperspace hollows, and the rares and legendaries and the prestiges, I happened to bust a showcase leader. Hilarious. But yes, so all I'm really looking for legendaries from this box, and my hope and prayer is that they are in there, is that I'm just looking for a 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐿 and a Ravager and a Grogu. I think if I got those, I am perfectly fine with everything that I got. Now, I won't have my playset of Ravager, but in my opinion, Ravager, I think you can easily play at 2 copies in a 𝐒𝐿 strategy and be perfectly fine with it. Though, you know, if we pulled another showcase, I wouldn't be mad about it. So, with that said, everybody, let's bust open this box. As a reminder, for every single pack, it is still 16 cards, still standard breakdown, but we are now, of course, guaranteed 1 hyperspace and 1 hyperspace holo, as well as the last card in the pack is always going to be a rare or legendary. And, of course, you're still guaranteed all your normal. stuff. You also get about 1 prestige, 1 to 2 prestiges. I've had boxes that get me 2 prestige. I've had boxes only give me 1. So it's about 1 to 2 prestige per box, which again, now the normal prestige arts, non-hallowed versions are in the base set themselves. If you want the hallowed versions of them, you have to go buy a Carbonite. So our 3 arts for the box are Moff Gideon, Grogu, and Mr. Akbar. The weird part is I think they all have like a shine to them now, and it's weird. Like I don't remember like their packs being kind of like shiny and all that. I don't actually physically remember that. But anyways, we're going to start off with the Moff Gideon pack. Now, me personally, I'm just looking to pull out my hyperspace hollows, and my rares and legendaries because I already, like I said, have a playset of commons and uncommons. I don't need any more of those. Or a chance at another showcase leaders. So we're going to see what we got as we're going to start off with Cad Bane. Anyways, Cad Bane is our new, probably potentially new control style leader, especially with blue. Action, tap him. Deal 1 damage to a unit of 2 or more remaining HP. If you control 6 or more resources, deploy this leader at 4/7. On a 4/7, you have Overwhelm, and on attack, you may deal 1 damage to a unit with 2 or more remaining HP. So it's a very interesting like control leader. When I first read him, I didn't take him to be all that good of a leader. But overall, he's not actually that bad, especially in blue, especially with the new Pre-Vizsla in the game. He's a menace to deal with, 100%. So do expect him to be a running around in this meta. Well, look at that. We have a blue base in the Fortress of the Great Mothers. Durasteel Plating, Imposing Scoutwalker, Trexler Armored Marauder. We have our first hyperspace in Lothal E-Wing and our second hyperspace in Imperial Loyalist. We do get, sometimes you will get double hyperspaces in packs. That's completely normal. Then we have Stronger Together, Heroic Purgle, Grassroots Resistance. I reprint, of course, from, I believe, Secrets of Power. Survivor's Lang Skib, Durasteel Plating, Hyperspace Hollow. A T6 Shuttle 1947, a very good card, by the way, with Sentinel and action tap it, given a unit +2/+2 for this phase, and an attack with that unit. Actually a pretty nice effect there to immediately allow you to do some strong attack strategies. And then we have Morgan Elsbeth, and we got our prestige of the box. It's Wicket! It's a little strange. We got Ewoks in this set. We didn't get an Ewok leader or anything like that, but hey, we did get Ewoks. So hopefully now we're going to get some more Ewoks now. It's just a little strange that we didn't get more focus on, episode 6, where we could have had more focus on, the Battle of Endor. I'm surprised we also didn't get any real cards from, like, Battlefront 2, nothing from the Inferno Squad, Iden, 𝐑𝐄𝐋𝐀, all of them. We never really got like any one of those characters also in this set. So it was a little strange because that was kind of a big deal for Battlefront 2 being set in the Ashes Empire. We do have cards from the game in there, like the Star Destroyer and then Operation Cinder and of course the Emperor's Messenger. We have all of those. We just do not have any like of the characters from that. So we'll have to see when Iden and don't think like 𝐑𝐄𝐋𝐀's even got a leader. Iden has a leader, but we don't have 𝐑𝐄𝐋𝐀 or any of the other Inferno Squad as leaders either. So there's still a lot of characters that can get leaders in this game. And then our rare is Marok with Sentinel, and then when this unit is upgraded, he loses Sentinel but gains Saboteur. Our next leader is the Mando himself, the Mandalorian. When you take the initiative, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. Flips on 6 for 4/6. He does have support, and then on attack, if you have initiative, you may draw a card. This is one of those leaders I do want to build around with. I think with the new Grogu Legendary, he's very good as well, because the new Grogu Legendary states that when you take the initiative, you may attack with a unit. There's a very good combination to do with this one, since the Mando wants you to take the initiative so that you can draw a card. Not mentioning that the turn you flip, you want to have the initiative so you can flip, go support, and then have on attack trigger of what the guy you support with being able to draw you a card, and then his attack being able to draw you a card. So there's some very interesting things you could do with this. I've seen people build him around the Colossus right now, which kind of makes sense because you're able to draw some extra cards. But still, he's one of those leaders I'm really looking forward to building around. Then we have Navarro City restored. Hey, look at that. It's the Mandalorian in Navarro City. Then the Almai Hunter, Covert Believers, Remnant Trooper Corps, Praetorian Elite, Inspiring Veteran Hyper, Heightened Awareness, Children of the Watch, The Way of the Mandalore, Masterstroke, Hyper Hollow Remnant Official, Outcast, Pointless to Resist, Kira, and finally, Migs Mayfield. Now, I did forget to mention, we do have 24 booster packs in a box as well. That's still standard. We got Bo-Katan, another leader I am actually wanting to build around. I wouldn't actually mind her showcase as well. I do like her showcase having all like the Mandos, like the Armorer, and all these Mandalorians behind her. But yeah, she's a pretty interesting leader because action pay to tap her. If you control a unit in each arena, create a Mandalorian token. Epic action. She is the second unit to have this type of epic action. Arva is the other one. If the number of resources you control plus the number of friendly Mandalorian units is 10 or more, deploy this leader. Remember, Arva is if your number of resources plus the number of times you use the Force equals 8, you may flip her. So, Bo-Katan on our backside is other friendly Mandalorian units gained +0, +1/+0, and on attack if you control a unit in each arena, create a Mandalorian token. So basically, she's jank. She's not good. Don't get me wrong. She's not good, but she is jank, just fun to play with. You just want some Mando tribal, and I like when we get like tribal style leaders and tribal style decks in games. I think there's just something about tribal style gameplay that's just a lot of fun. So. Definitely going to be building around this leader 100%. Not sure when, if I'm going to do a video myself or just go to my locals with this leader. But there is some very much fun I want to do with her. The best coloration to do with her is in blue. And hey, look at that. A blue base in the Fortress of the Great Mother. 100%. Did forget to mention, here is our shield token. And then we have our advantage token. And I think we should have an experience. I don't know if we actually got an experience token. From this set. Oh, and I did forget the last one. We did get the Mando token. So the Mando token does come out shielded as a 2/2, which is pretty nice. A shielded token coming out for 2/2 is really nice. I don't know if we got an experience token. I don't think we did because of advantage tokens. Moving on, we have Follow Me, Death Trooper Squad, Pit Droid Team, Mark My Words, Ewok Warrior Hyper, Open Circle Ace, Display of Strength, Covert Veteran, Mandalorian Scout, Emperor's Champion Hyper Hollow, Barriss Offee, the Razor Crest, Yellow Aces Bomber, which by the way, if you're looking for this to be pretty good, take a look at Odd Cost Han. Odd Cost Han can use this card 100%. And our rare is Green Leader. Guys, if you're looking to play anything Red Heroic, you're going to see a lot of Green Leader. This is going to be a staple card in those deck strategies, especially for Luke JTL. A 2-cost, 3/1, when defeated, deal 2 damage to a unit. Still, while it does not have the best on attack scale and doesn't survive all that long, it's still going to be 3 damage you're going to have to deal with on one swing, plus then 2 damage comes after something. So expect to see a lot of Green Leader in a lot of Red Heroic strategies. Next up, we got Moff Gideon, another leader I'm actually kind of hyped to try out, just because I think he's absolute fun. He's bad, but he's going to be fun. Action, tap him. If a friendly Imperial unit was defeated this phase, you may play a unit from your hand. It costs 1 less. At 7 or more resources, flip him over. He is 5/8, and then what he does on his backside is just what makes him fun. This unit gains each of the following keywords if it's on an Imperial unit in your discard pile. Ambush, Grit, Hidden, Overwhelm, Saboteur, Sentinel, Shielded, Support. So basically, he just gets all of that. So he's definitely a lot of fun. He's jank all the way just because he's not all that strong of a leader. I like his front side for being able to reduce the play cost of stuff, but he's just going to be fun. Don't get me wrong. I think he's just going to be fun. We're going to have the Emperor's Observatory Yellow Base, Imperial Armored Commando, Flare Star Attack Shuttle, Exploit Advantage, Perseverance, Mandalorian Super Commando Hyper, Remnant Interceptor. This is going to be a very good card for Vader JTL. Be on the lookout for that. Fairy Droid, Warrior of Clan Kirez, N5 Security Droid, a Hyper Hollow ATST Raider, Captain Pelion, Rancor Keeper. Ooh, Hyperspace Admiral Akbar. Yes, this actually completes my playset of Admiral Akbar. I forgot I actually need, I think, another Luke as well, another Luke Legendary. But this completes my playset of Admiral Akbar. When played, you may defeat this unit. If you do, so top 10 cards of your deck for any number of space units, buying cost of 5 or less, and play each of them for free. Now look, you might not think that's the best effect reading it 100%. I sure didn't think so. Playing for 5, killing a 6/6 immediately off your battlefield just so you can search some space units. But in Luke JTL, this is going to be very good. Matters on some decks don't play him. I was playing him at 2 copies because I think that's really it. But if your opponent actually deals with your space front before you turn, you flip Luke Skywalker, you can do, because Luke flips on 6, you can go Admiral Akbar 5, kill Admiral Akbar, play potentially 2 space units, both of which can be fighters, and then you'll be able to flip Luke next turn onto a fighter, allowing you to trigger his effect, allowing you to go ham from there. So in my opinion, he's really good for Luke JTL. So glad to have my final copy of him. And then finally we have Reforge. So you can defeat an upgrade on a friendly unit. If you do, so top 8 cards of your deck for an upgrade that can attach to that unit, reveal it, and if you do, pay cost 4 less. It's actually pretty nice. It's really good kind of for the Armorer, because Armorer is blue-green and you'll have to choose your other coloration you want, but it's actually not too bad for like an Armorer strategy or even other like upgrade strategies as well. Not too bad of a card, but more impactful, we got the Akbar. Now, it is one thing important to note about the Akbar, since he was in a hyperspace slot and not in the legendary or rare slot. I do not know if he affects the amount, the normalcy amount, about 5 to 6 legendaries per box. So we'll have to kind of see. We have then a hyperspace Bo-Katan, followed by a Ancient Henge, followed by a reprint that didn't need to even happen. Inspired Recruit literally got printed in the last set. This is a Lawless Time printing. Why we have it printed again in Ashes of the Empire is beyond me. It isn't even going to rotate out when we lose 4, 5, and 6 when we hit set 10. This won't officially rotate out until we hit set 13. So, yeah, I don't know why we got it reprinted from, we had it printed in Laws for its original, reprinted into Ash. So, don't ask me why. Judge's Protector, Tempest Lieutenant, Mos Espo Watermonger, a Star Fortress Heavy Bomber Hyper, a Predidia Bandit, Pathfinder Sergeant, Full of Surprises, Imperial Defector, Master Stroke Hyper Hollow, a Boken Saber, Phoenix Shand, a Hyperspace Choose Your Path, a very interesting card. Choose one. If you control a Force unit, heal 5 damage to your base. If you control a Mandalorian unit, create a Mando token and give an advantage token to it. So it's a very interesting thing. You could definitely play it in Bo-Katan just to get the Mando token so you can flip her. Or, of course, you can play it in a Force deck and allow you to get healed damage. And our second legendary we're going to pull is, a Chimera. I didn't need to see another Chimera. I already playsetted the Chimera myself. But still, this is a very good legendary and something not to sleep on. I think a lot of decks are going to try out the Chimera. Especially Thrawn JTL has this access to this Chimera. And this Chimera can be pretty nasty. When played, choose a friendly unit and an enemy non-leader unit. If you do, defeat those units. When an enemy unit is defeated, heal 2 damage from your base. So it's pretty nice. So if you are in Thrawn JTL Force Yellow, you can go Legacy Run, keep the Legacy Run alive, go Chimera, pop Legacy Run, pop one of your opponent's units, and then double tap Legacy Run's 12 damage output to then use the 12 damage to wherever you want it to go. So allowing you to kind of just like ping, destroy a unit with the Legacy Run and using the Chimera effects, and then use a Legacy Run to potentially kill a couple more units and potentially heal 6 damage from your base, which is pretty nice. So nothing to scoff at. This Chimera is going to be a menace, especially in control strategies as well. Cad Ash Blue is playing the Chimera at a couple of copies in it just because of how powerful this thing can be. Our next leader is Hypra Ezra Bridger. Again, another leader I think has a very strong chance in this meta as being an aggro leader. Ezra states, when a friendly unit attack ends, if it dealt 3 or more combat damage to a base, you may exhaust the leader. If you do, give an advantage token to another friend, a different unit. It can be your opponent's units as well. That is the thing. You are allowed to give advantage tokens to your opponent's units. He flips on 5 for 3/6, so he automatically does deal 3 damage. He's the only other like showcase leader I'm looking for from this set. Then, when a friendly unit attack ends, if it dealt 3 or more combat damage to a base, including himself, you may give an advantage token to a different unit. So the whole kind of gimmick of Ezra is that you're going to flip on her backside, attack with guys, and in each attack after it ends, if it dealt 3 or more damage, you can then give advantage tokens to every other single guy on the battlefield. He's a really good just aggro leader right now into this format. I'm not sure what coloration to play him in, like maybe is it yellow, is it blue, green? I'm not completely sure just yet, but still, this is a really good aggro leader if you're looking to play aggro style. Then we have Emperor's Observatory, Ratcatcher, Lothal Ewing, Desert Sharpshooter, Buy Time, Fairy Droid, Consortium Star Viper, Diplomatic Pageantry. It's Jack Black, everybody! Look, it's Jack Black! Fang Fighter Squadron, Flanking TIE Interceptor, a new Order Hyper Hollow, Gazanti Salt Carrier. Again, actually another really good ship kind of for Piet as well, of being able to play it and then get not only having support but also have on attack. Give this unit gain Sentinel for the phase. The Conflict Within, R5 D4, and then another legendary I already playsetted in the Eye of Sion. But still a very good legendary depending on your deck strategy. Eye of Sion states, action, tap it, search the top 8 cards of your deck for a unit that costs the same as or less than this unit's power. Play it for free. It enters ready. So the whole kind of gimmick is that you are, for right now, you're able to play 5 cost or less units that are freed, readied. But if you can pump this up with advantage tokens, experience tokens, +2/+2s, anything like that that's just temporary power, you can then tap it to then search out even more things and play a whole bunch of stuff freed and readied. So in my opinion, it's still a very interesting legendary and one to keep your eye out if it does become relevant for this meta. I do want to see what decks can utilize the Eye of Sion. I think it's actually a pretty good card indeed. Next up, we have Sabine, a leader that, you know, I did do her for, that sounded inappropriate. I played her for one of my pre-release events where we did a best of 1 format. She got me 2 games. She almost got me 3. She almost got me, almost won me round 2, but round 2 was against Salone. I just wasn't able to get enough tempo in the late game to beat Salone. But she wasn't too bad in there, but her front side sucks. Action, opponent gives 2 advantage tokens to a unit they control. If they do, the next unit you play this phase gains shielded. The phase. So basically what you want to do in that case, if you're going to do this, right, your opponent would give 2 advantage tokens to a unit. The problem is if your opponent has a unit that you can't ambush into, because what you could do next is then play a unit with ambush, and then you would be able to knock out those advantage tokens, because again, advantage tokens disappear after the unit attacks or defends for the turn, so that is very important there. But the aspect here is it's not all that great. She flips on 5, and an on-attack next unit you play gains shielded for the face. I like what the backside can do. I like the on-attack trigger when she's an awakened leader. I do not like when she's not an awakened leader. She just does not feel all that great because this effect, who wants to give their opponent advantage just to play a shielded guy out? This doesn't seem all that great, but who knows? Maybe she'll have some random appearances. I don't think she's the worst leader around. I think you could play some ambushing style deck strategy with her, being able to give advantage tokens, have your opponent give advantage tokens something, and then use a guy with ambush and then swing in shielded, knocking out the guy that just got played with those advantage tokens, knocking them out, and potentially killing them as well. So there is just that. Other than that, I'm not too sold on Sabine. Our red base will be the Ancient Henge, followed by Wookiee Chieftain, the Palashep Droid, Attendant Navigator, the only First Order card we got in the entire set. The Resistance got a few cards in this set. The Bomber, we already saw with the the Soldiers. Apologies. Inspiring Veteran, and then Poe Dameron are all, of course, First Order. And with this, Resistance, this was our only First Order card. Danger Squadron Wingman. This is also kind of interesting. I play this in 𝐿𝐾𝐿. Be considerate. I think this has a spot in 𝐿𝐾𝐿. Outland Protector Hyper. New Order. Turning the Tide. Preparations. Where's Legacy? We have Crix. Mundane Hyper Hollow. The Student Guides the Master. I do like the art because this is when in the think it's the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, it's the Book of Boba Fett, I think this appears, where Ahsoka meets Luke Skywalker. As a reminder, remember, Ahsoka was the student of Anakin Skywalker, the father of Luke Skywalker. So, kind of interesting to see, like, the dynamic of them kind of together. Now, remember, the only reason Ahsoka is there is because the Rebels TV show where they learn of, like, the region, like, where you're allowed to pull people into this, like, gateway thing of the Force and all that. Then we have Shin Hati, Ezra Bridger, older Ezra Bridger, in, of course, the unknown region of space. And then a Sabine's lightsaber. Kind of very interesting one. If it's attached to Sabine Wren or a Force unit, it just gains Restore 2, which isn't too bad. So, something to consider playing in Force decks. Next leader we have is Shin Hati, a leader I think can be meta relevant, but only if things go her way. When a friendly unit attack ends, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, exhaust a unit that costs less than the amount of combat damage dealt to the base for this attack. She flips on 6 for 4/6 and does the exact same thing on her backside. When a friendly unit attack ends, you may exhaust a unit that costs less than the amount of combat damage dealt to the base of this attack. You only use this ability once per round. So her kind of gimmick effect here is that you need to deal combat damage to your base, and then once per that round, you're allowed to rest one unit that has the exact same cost to the exact same amount of damage you dealt. So that's just kind of the downfall of what Shin is. I still do not think we should sleep on Shin. I think there are very good capabilities of being able to rest stuff in Star Wars Unlimited. At times, disturbing your opponent's plays can be very, very powerful, especially in a set with advantage tokens running around. There are ways to buff up attacks and stuff like that. So I'm not sold on her being great. I think that she has a chance in this meta. We'll just have to kind of see how people play around and build her to make her better. Then the Dragon Snake Bog, the Nodi Nomad, Galvanized Leap. Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground. Reanimated Night Trooper, the Shy Dop Pirate Skiff, the Nodi Nomad Hyper, Dinosaur Turtle, Amnesty Officer, ATST Raider, Keep Them Talkin', Pegasus Tri-Wing Hyper Hollow, Moth Gideon, Get Lost, Mayor's Mojodorum, Mayor's Major Domo, and then Pelimoto. A pretty interesting card. She comes in shielded. She's only a 1/1, but then she also has, of course, Ignore the Aspect Pennies, the first non-unit card you played that phase. Pretty interesting little thing where you could play any card in your deck and ignore its Aspect Penny as long as it's not a non-unit card. So, pretty interesting card indeed. Not too powerful, but it's pretty interesting. Next up, we got Greef Karga, our first Greef Karga leader, by the way. When you play or create a unit, may exhaust his leader. If you do, give an advantage token to this unit. He flips on 6 for 4/7. And when you play or create a unit, give an advantage token to that unit. So basically, on the front side, you can only do it once. On the back side, it happens every time you play a unit. I think there is some stuff you could do with Greef Karga. I don't think he's meta. He probably could push to maybe fringe, like a tier 1.5, depending on the build and depending on what is considered meta in this format. But I think he's actually a pretty fun leader. Being able to automatically play a unit and give it an advantage token to it, forcing your opponent to have to either realize that advantage token's coming at them or anything like that, it's pretty nice. I mean, I would put it in red just so we could play an aggro-style deck, but hey, here we are still talking about aggro-style deck strategies. But I think red actually is just the better coloration for him anyways, whether or not we had aggressive negotiations or not. I just think red is just a better coloration. Talking about red, here's the Bog again. Then a Remnant Official, Ewok Warrior, Reinforcing Light Cruiser, Imperial Loyalist, Faith in the Empire Hyper, Emperor's Message, Rebel Infiltrators, ATST Raider, Master Stroke, Hyper Hollow Desert Sharpshooter, Alphabet Squadron U-Wing, Nowhere to Hide, Remnant Lookout. Look out for this. If you're a Sabe player, I would highly probably put that into your deck. And then one must destroy to create. This is another rare I think actually has some very interesting playabilities, especially in Thrawn JTL. Defeat a friendly non-leader unit, then you may play that unit from your discard pile for free. In essence, play out the legacy run. Pop the legacy run with one must destroy to create. And then you get to double tap Thrawn. Then play the legacy run out again for free. So that's kind of what you can do in that style. So there's some like I said, some interesting things which you can do with this, and I think Thrawn JTL is the best to utilize this effect here with one must destroy to create. By the way, the prestige version of this is pretty nice indeed. Our next leader is Baylan Skoll. Hey, look, we just looked at a card with him on it. But Baylan as a leader, I'm not sold. I think this is not a great leader. I think you have to build him on a very specific curve of how you want to build them, and you have to live by that curve. So Baylan says action, pay 1, tap him, give a friendly unit +2/+2 for the face if it's the only unit you control in that arena. Flip him for 5, he is 4/6, and on attack you may give a friendly unit +2/+2 and Sentinel for the face if it's the only non-leader unit control in its arena. If you're on the ground, besides himself. So if you're on the ground, you only have one ground unit, you can still give the +2/+2 and Sentinels to the ground unit because Baylan doesn't count himself for that. And what I mean by very specific playstyle is that you can't go mass board state. You can't go into like one arena and play a large chunk of that arena. You can't just do that. But in my opinion, the best way to play this leader is you have to play with like the mindset if you're going to build to counteract one arena and then build to utilize Baylan's effect in the other arena. For instance, if you feel the arena that the meta is going to really surround ground, you're going to build heavily in the ground arena and play normally in ground, but you're going to have a very small space arena, and I mean small. You're not going to have maybe like 10 cards in your entire space area, and you're going to just play one unit from space and then use Baylan to pump that unit up every single time so it's punching a little harder in space, and then you're just going to play normally in the ground. But again, you could do that opposite of space. If you feel space is the heavier arena for this upcoming format, you could play a heavy space front and then play a light ground front and then use Baylan to pump the ground and just have one ground unit and himself on the ground, and you can continuously pump up this ground unit and Baylan can swing as well. So that's just kind of how you have to build them. That's how you have to keep that mindset with Baylan, is that you're going to have to pick one arena and put most of your units in that one arena and have a very small package of the other arena so you can use Baylan's effect. I don't really like that deck building strategy, but that's really the only way I see how anyone can really build around Baylan and make him work. I like what he can do. I think that's pretty neat, but it's not really good for how this game really wants to work. Then we have Kry's Castle, Nebulon Sea Frigate, Pegasus Tri-Wing, Nodi Mobile Pod, the Battered Hull Craft, Pathfinder Sergeant, the Blurg, the Gallo Free Transport, Helix Starfighter, Outland Protector, Scorpec Annihilator Droid Hyper Hollow, Axe Wolves, Trash Walker. This actually is really good. If you remember Reinforce Walker back in the day, this is now the new Reinforce Walker, where you can choose a unit in your discard pile that costs 7 or less. You can either put in the bottom of your deck and heal 3 damage your base, or turn it to your hand. Luke Ash Data Vault decks will probably be maxing 3 copies of this. We have a Hyper Space Morox Fiend Fighter, and then the Twins. Twins say when played on attack, you may give another unit Sentinel for the face, and when another friendly unit is defeated, heal 1 damage from your base. Okay, rare, kind of trash. I did forget to mention, but our normal hyper slot was taken by the Pathfinder Sergeant. Our next leader is Ahsoka Tano. When I first read Ahsoka Tano, I wasn't too sold, but I might be a little bit more sold really thinking about it a little longer now since first reading over her. Action Tapper. Choose a unit with less power than a friendly unit. It gets +2 for this phase. So you have to have 2 units out on the board state for her to trigger. On 6, she flips. She does have support, so meaning that you do support an immediate guy. And then on attack, you give a unit that with less power then this unit +2 for this attack. I think there are some things you can do with this, and it's more or less you just play like a really good like blue package with her, and you play a couple of units that are weaker, like Leppy Lookout, like the Queen with her spies, and you just kind of pump them up with those attacks, as long as you have a unit that has with less power already on the board, and then you basically just pump them up to be bigger. So there are some things I think this Ahsoka Tano can do. I don't think she's still all that great, but I think there's things she can do in Premiere. We have Navarro City Restored, Clan Vizsla Soldier, Foundling Rescue, Mandalorian Super Commandos, Honorable Night Owl, Keep Them Talking Hyper, Womp Rat, Faith in the Empire, Force Patroller, Unsanctioned Patrol, Hyper Hollow Protector Fighter, Home 1, Nobby White Ice Spider, Blade 3, and then Carson Teva with support, and then his only support trigger that you get for one time is while this unit is attacking, it deals combat damage before the defender. So you get first strike, but on a support, and that's it. On a 2/1/4/2. We got the new Thrawn, our third Thrawn, the Thrawn Ash, which kind of really sucks on his backside. Action, attack with a unit. I mean, yeah, the attack with a unit is always just going to be really good. It's the second part of this. It gains Restore 2 for the attack if you control the same number of units as a defending player. So meaning if you want Restore 2 on your attack, you have to have the exact same, which means that you and your opponent have to have 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 5, and that does count both arenas. So if you only have 2 ground and your opponent has 3 space, you do not match the same amount of units, meaning you do not get Restore 2. The attack with the unit is fine. It really sucks. And then he flips on 8 for 5/8 with Restore 2, and then on attack, if you control more units than the defending player, you may defeat a non-leader unit they control. There you go. The backside, while a little tougher since you have to outmax your opponent in units, is a whole lot better. The ability just to nuke one unit off your opponent's board state as long as you continually control more units. So if you can stabilize your board over your opponent, you can just start chipping away their board state while Thrawn is on his backside. I don't know about him, everybody. I mean, I like what he can do. I like the little gimmick of each Thrawn is like completely different. Thrawn 1, it was about resting stuff. Thrawn, that was Thrawn from Spark. Thrawn from JTL was about double tapping when defeated triggers. Thrawn from Ash is about on the front side, matching the number of units to get Restore 2. On the back side, it's about overwhelming your opponent with numbers and then killing your opponent. So, I mean, there has a different each flavor of Thrawn. This Thrawn is probably not the best Thrawn. If I was going to play Thrawn, it's still going to be Thrawn from JTL. But hey, each its own. Have fun with this one. I'm not sold on the front side. I like when immediately being able to attack with a unit. I just hate the fact that Restore 2 is very restrictive. And he's also a really high cost leader to flip at 8. But I mean, once you flip him, he's just, if you have the board in your favor, your opponent's not coming back in this game at all. Because every unit they play that's rested, you can just liquefy right off the board state. So it just really is that powerful. But nonetheless, other than that, he's an okay leader. I would give him like tier 2 at best if I was thinking. Anyways, we have Emperor's Throne Room, Intimidation, Strike Team Vanguard, TIE Striker, Battered Hallcraft, Tempest Lieutenant Hyper, Dinosaur Turtle, Heightened Awareness, Zealous Soldier, Clan Ren Loyalist, Open Circle Ace, Hyper Hollow, Wipe Them Out, Scorpionic Annihilator Droid, Hyper Onyx Cinder. This actually is pretty interesting, a little rare with hidden, and all other units gain hidden when they're played that turn too. And then Enoch. Again, we did get double color cards in this set as well. They're not as many as we got in Law, but we did get a good little smattering of them. We did get 2 leaders at a double color as well as the Armorer and a Fennec Shand. So Enoch says, when defeated, you may deal up to 6 damage to your base. The next unit you play this phase costs 1 less for every 2 damage you did this way. So if you did all 6 to your base, you basically reduce the next unit you play by 3. Is that good? I don't think so. In an aggro format like I think we're going into, this is just a quicker way for your opponent to kill you rather than you fighting it out and trying to force into the long game with an aggro deck. Our next leader will be Moff Gideon. We've already discussed him. And then we have a Hyperspace Dragon Snake Bog Then the Imperial Armored Commando, Pegasus Tri-Wing, Nodi. The Almighty Hunter, Galvanized Leap Hyper. I do like the hyper art of Galvanized Leap there. It's actually pretty nice. Full of surprises, Remnant Interceptor, Inspiring Veteran, Protectorate Fighter, Trillex Armored Marauder Hyper Hollow, Grab Charge, Axe Wolves, Shin Hadi's Fiend Fighter, and then Mr. Poe Dameron. Which a pretty nice effect, by the way, with all units lose Sentinel. This is probably could see a little bit of side coming up in the Galactic Championship if you're in this coloration, if you play Salone. Since Salone gives Sentinel the turn she flips, all units gain Overwhelm and Sentinel. Poe Dameron against that deck can immediately be able to turn off Salone's advantage of those Sentinel, giving everything Sentinel. So probably see this as probably a side deck card in a lot of blue or red, yellow heroic strategies. Our next pack will have Cad Bane. And then the Kai's Castle. Imperial Loyalist. Follow Me. Remnant Official. Intimidation. Amnesty Officer Hyper. Grassroots Resistance. Consortium Star Viper. Helix Starfighter. Warrior's Legacy. Imperial Loyalist Hyper Hollow. Justifier. Hu Yang. Stolen Ada Shuttle. Again, another card that probably will be seeing some play in Invader JTL. It comes in hidden, and if you have the initiative, this unit gets +2. And then another legendary, I already playsetted in Zeb. Well, I've got my playset of Zeb already before I open this box. So talk about the three, so far 2 normal art legendaries that we've, all 3 normal art legendaries we've opened up, I've already playsetted. But his effect is still very strong. Of when played, give 3 advantage tokens to another unit. And when a friendly upgrade is defeated, deal 1 damage to a base. Meaning that every time a singular advantage token is defeated, he recognizes the destruction of it. Meaning that if you say you have a unit with 5 advantage tokens on it and all 5 die, that is 5 damage going after your opponent's base for just because the 5 advantage tokens were killed over. This is very powerful, and I do expect a lot of strategies to find a way to actually utilize Zeb for games to win. So, nonetheless, I do 100% like what this card can do. I expect this card to be in some very strong meta decks. As for me, I'm not happy I pulled another Zeb, but oh well, that's the way the box rolls. Our new leader and our first of the 2 double colored leaders in Fennec Shand. Action, pay 1 exhaust a friendly unit, play a unit from your hand, paying its cost, enters play ready. Not too bad. I mean, you do get to rest your own things, so it's not overly great. She does flip on 4 for 3/4, not very powerful. With Saboteur and an action, pay 1 exhaust a friendly unit. You may play a unit for your hand, it enters play ready. Maybe in the late game that isn't too bad for you to utilize that, but a lot of times resting your own stuff to play something readied isn't always going to be very useful depending on what you're resting and what you're playing for its cost. But nonetheless, I don't think it's overly horrible. I still think she's hot trash, like hot garbage trash. But there are ways you probably could see it as good, because in the late game you could start playing resting things and then being able to like bring out a big guy at a big cost, ready to up on the board state, ready to swing. There is that, but other than that, I'm not too sold on her at all. Then we have Navarro, the Pit, Desert, Attendant, Dursteel, the Lep Hyper, Covert, Unsanctioned, the Blurg, Open Circle, Display of Strength, Hyper Hollow, Halo, Kachiro Militia, Sabine Wren, and then there we go. Like I said, we did get cards from Battlefront 2 in Operation Cinder, dealing 5 damage to your base, and then deal 5 damage to each unit, including your own, by the way. So it's a bombing run. So it's a bombing run that punches you, hurts you first, and then you get to deal 5 damage. Being 6 cost, I don't know if that's going to be all that great, because at that point you're really starting to push if you could threatening your base, threatening to lose the game by taking 5 damage. But if it could win you the game of dealing enough, like 5 damage to everything on your opponent's board state, it could still be very good. It could see probably some like 1 to 2 copies inside decks for those strange gimmicky time periods where it might actually come up to be good. Next up, we have Ezra, Fall by the Bog. Then Cybernetic, Remnant, Clan Nebulin. We have Remnant Knight Trooper Hyper. Then Rebel Infiltrator Hyper. In 5, Padea Bandit Ant. In 5, Wipe Them Out, Rancor Keeper, Han Solo Hyper. As a reminder, you get the normal arts and the starter decks. If you want the Hyper and Hyperspace foils, you do get them in the set itself. And our next legendary, again, is another legendary I already playsetted in Kailaran Beck. But still, a very good legendary for Avar and for Qui-Gon Jinn. Basically because he has the ability to ambush, claiming you the Force, especially in Qui-Gon being able to get the Force off of that, as well as for Avar getting the Force off that. But for Qui-Gon specifically, being able to get the Force and then bounce him back and play in a 3 cost on the board state is just very, very nice. So I like him 100%. I just wish, he just wasn't the legendary I needed. Again, it's just hilarious to me that every legendary we pulled that's normal art, I've already playsetted. Talk about irony. We got a Moff Gideon Hyper, followed by a Emperor's Observatory Hyper, then Wookiee Chieftain, Death Trooper, Reinforcing, Wookiee Warrior, The Way of the Mandalore Hyper, Fang Fighter Squadron, Womp Rat, Faith of the Empire, Survivors Langskib, Fairy Droid Hyper, Hollow, Dr. Pershing, the Mandalorian Flagship, the Conflict Within Hyper, and then Bo-Katan's Gauntlet would restore 1, and for each other non-target unit gains when defeated, you just create a Mandalorian token. Once again, like I said, for Bo-Katan, Bo is definitely going to play green-blue, because in this set, that is where most of the Mandalorians exist, is in green and blue. Next up, we got Hyper Balin, followed by Fortress of the Great Mothers. Hey, look at that. That's pretty much where he is right now, though he is standing on the Father there. The planet they go to, of course, this Perdadia, he stands on a statue created with the Father, the Mother, and the Son, of course. A little lore if you haven't seen the Ahsoka show. Praetorian Elite, Duchess Protector, Tempest Lieutenant, Mos Espa Watermonger, Emperor's Champion Hyper, Emperor's Champion Normal, Imperial Defector, Warrior Clan Ǩaiṛez, Fairy Droid, Helix Starfighter Hollow, a Purga Ultra, a Deadly Vulnerability. Ooh, we got another Prestige. Again, we are not guaranteed more than, I believe, 1 Prestige per box, but we got the Hera Syndulla Prestige there. I really like that. Hera is definitely one of those leaders or units that is definitely going to be very strong. She's also the play promo card for playing in the Store Championship. So if you just play a Store Championship, you're guaranteed a Hera. And we do know what the Store Championship winner card is as well. It's the Grogu from this set. So if you're someone who hasn't playsetted your Grogus yet and you're not really concerned about them, just wait until the Store Championship comes around. You'll be able to get your Grogus then. Anyways, when attack ends, if this unit dealt combat damage to a base, heal that much damage from your base. So, yeah, it's just a very good card overall. Just a very good card. And then we have the Corona 4 Rare, which on attack, this unit gets... You may give a unit -2 for this phase, and then when defeated, if any, you may defeat a non-leader unit with 0 power. I kind of like it that we have actually this very interesting, a couple of these cards that I mentioned, 0 power. It's very interesting where Corona 4 kills a unit with 0 power when defeated, and then Beck says you get +1 for each other unit, friendly and enemy, with 0 power. So it's kind of interesting, that little gimmick we're now seeing in yellow. We got Sabine. Then we got Freetown, Foundling Rescue, Honorable Night Owl, Trexia Armored Marauder, Danger Squadron Wingman, Foundling Rescue Hyper, Heroic Purgle, Stronger Together, Tatooine Sand Beast, Zealous Soldier, and Executor Hyperspace. Once again, if you guys want the normal Executor art, you must go buy the Emperor Palpatine starter deck, since it's a specialty rare card. The Cyborg Mech, this is basically a staple 3 of in the new Cad Bane deck with Grit, and then when played, either deal 2 damage to an undamaged ground unit or 5 damage to a damaged ground unit. Just very strong. Actually, it's also good in Asajj Ventress JTL as well. The Domesticated Loth Cat, Murroc's Fiend Fighter, and Ruik. This is our last Moff Gideon pack from the box. Let's see what he holds for us. His leader will be Balin, followed by Navarro, Remnant, Star Fortress, Covert, Exploit Advantage, Pit, Hyper, Pathfinder, Preparations, Forest Patroller, Gallifrey, Major Domo, Hyper Hollow, The Armorer, Tatooine, Repulsor Train, Snub Fighter Squadron. This actually is also good, especially since Vader JTL typically plays in yellow-green. This is not actually all that bad of a unit to play in there because it has Ambush and then when played deal 1 damage to a space unit. And then we have Mr. Cobb Vanth. This, of course, Cobb Vanth after he gives away the Bulbous Armor back to the Mando. He has Grit, and then when you play another unit, you may deal 2 damage to the unit if you do give that unit the shield token. I talked about comboing him with the Mandalorian Legendary in this set, allowing you to get the Mando 2 shield tokens at the price of him taking 2 damage, which is pretty nice. So, and plus with Grit, he's just not all that bad of a card to punch himself in the face so that you can pump him up for that Grit. We have Ahsoka, the Emperor's Throne Room, Lep, Strike Team, Imposing, By Time, Praetorian Elite Hyper, Defender of the Forest, Inspiring Veteran, Clan Rin Loyalist, Rebel Infiltrators, Honorable Night Owl Hyper, Trix Megdine, Reckoning, Maz Eisley Modifier, and a Ravager! Alright, well, I can be pleased with 2 Ravagers 100%. If our last legendary out of this box is a Pre-Vizsla, I'll be very pleased with this box 100%. Again, I can easily just play Piet with 2 Ravagers and be done with all of that. So Ravager states Restore 2. When you play a unit, you may have it deal damage equal to its power to a unit in the same arena. So just a very nice card overall of just being able to pink off stuff and just kill it straight out, especially in space. But having that Restore 2 is what's going to make Piet want to play this 100%. But glad to have a second copy of it. I'm glad to have that now in my collection. Again, if we get a Pre-Vizsla, I will be very pleased with this box. Our final Grogu pack here. This will reward us with a Shin, followed by the Hedge, Psydop, B-Wing, Inspiring, Palace, Children of the Watch Hyper, Mandalorian Scout, Outland, Diplomatic Pageantry, New Order, Inspired Recruit, Bears Ophi, Rash Action, a Halo Hyper, and then a Bothan 5. A pretty okay card of when another friendly non-vehicle unit is defeated, you may have this unit capture that unit from your discard pile, use this ability only once per round. It's a pretty interesting thing if you're really into DJ from Secrets of Power and you really want to try to make him work in this format. It's not that bad for him, but that's really like leader that comes to mind to play the Bothan 5 at all. We are down, folks, to our last 2 packs, our Admiral Akbar packs. This is it, folks. Our last 2 packs of the box. Any last pack magic that we can have with Ezra, Freetown, B-Wing, Star Fortress, Mouse, Cybernetic, AT-ST Raider, Emperor's Champion, Protectorate Fighter, Emperor's Messenger, Android, Covert, Grief Karga, DDC Defender, a Gazanti Assault Carrier Hyper, and then 1 must destroy to create. So again, apologies, our Hyperspace Hollow was the Covert Veteran. Like I said, the Raider was our normal Hyper. This is it, folks. The last pack. Will we have any last pack magic? Anything at all? No last pack magic, as we have Grief, Emperor, TIE Striker, Mandalorian Super Commando, Lothal E-Wing, Mark My Words, Hyper Flare Star Attack Shuttle, Turning the Tide, Keep Them Talking, Display of Strength, Flanking Fang Fighter, Duchess Protector, Hyper Hollow, Scion Shuttle, Hold Them Off, Far Away, and the Mando's N1 Starfighter with support, and an on-attack may exhaust a friendly non-upgraded leader. If you do, this unit gets +2 for the attack. Okay, tack trigger if I'm being honest. Well, folks, that is it for our box. Let's go through everything we got out of it. For our rares, we have the Mando's N1 Starfighter, 1 must destroy to create, Bothan 5, Cobb Vanth, Ruick, Corona 4, Bo-Katan, Operation, Poe, Enoch, Carson, 1 must create to destroy, Pelimoto, Sabine's Lightsaber, Reinforce, Green Leader, Migs, and Marok. followed by our hyperspaces of Flare Star, Raider, 𝐒𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐒, Children, Halo, Praetorian, Pit, Foundling, Balin, Emperor's Observatory, Moth, Mandalore, The Conflict, Rebel, Reanimated, Han Solo, Lep, Amnesty, Bog, Galvanized Leaf, Tempest, Onyx, Keep Them, Pathfinder, Morok, Faith, Nodi, Outland, Ezra, Fairy, Bo-Katan, Star Fortress, Choose, Mandalorian, Fortress, Ewok, Inspiring, Imperial Loyalist, E-Wing, and then Navarra. For the Hollows, Duchess, Covert, Inspired, Honorable, Mayors, Executor, Helix, Fairy, N5, Display, Imperial, Trelix, Open Circle, Protectorate, Scorpionic, Desert, Pegasus, Crix, New Order, Masterstroke, Raider, Emperor, Remnant, and Dorsteel. We pulled 2 prestiges in the box of Mr. 𝐒𝐓𝐾𝐄 and Hera Syndulla, followed by our legendaries of the Ravager, Kaelerin, Zeb, Scion, Chimera, and Admiral Akbar. So overall, we pulled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 normals, a 6th in the Hyper Hollow spot. Would I have wished that these guys were all, say, a Luke Skywalker, a Pre Vizsla, and a Grogu? Sure, but I guess I'll just have to go and buy those cards on my own. Oh well. But nonetheless, guys, it was fun to bust this box with you. Once again, I wish it had been the box where we had pulled the Showcase Luke Skywalker, but out of 2 cases, I'm glad we pulled at least 1 showcase, which is standard for 2 cases. Again, if you had 1 case, you got a 50-50 shot. 2 cases, you have a very stronger shot of pulling a showcase. Not always going to happen with 2 cases, but you have a pretty strong chance at it. But again, guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments on the opening. Let me know what you're most excited for Ash, what you guys are very hyped to see for Ash, and all of that. And what you guys are going to build for Ash, and what you guys are going to think what leaders from the older sets are going to be very good in Ash. Let me know everything about Ashes of the Empire down in the comments, and while you guys are commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you're notified when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Modern Dragons TCG.